Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am happy to be here with all of you on P-Stars Radio. All right, listen up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I just said that the second time all over again. But we are going to be switching things up, okay? So I want to start it off with this, all right? We're going to have a little bit of an update, or should I say some changes that's going to be going on for my show specifically, where normally I would start off doing my shows at about 10:30 to 11. Now I'll be doing my show for an entire hour from 10 to 11 on Saturdays. Just wanted to make this big transition because I wanted to add a little bit more to I wanted to add a little bit more. How can I say this? I don't know the word. The word is sitting on my tongue, but I wanted to add a little bit more onto my shows for Saturday, and this also has to do with schooling as well. But this is what's going to be going on for this point on now, where I will be doing an hour for my shows on Saturdays, and then as far as Tuesdays go, I won't be conducting my shows on Tuesdays for the time being, for now, because this will be a bit challenging for me because of school or classes. So for now, I will not be conducting the shows that I would normally do on Tuesdays. So it will just only be on Saturdays, again from 10 o'clock to 11. So I do apologize for any inconvenience, and I do appreciate you guys for sticking with me here and working with me through this. And yeah, your support is greatly appreciated. All right, so again, I appreciate you guys so much for the understanding. And yeah, so I want to jump right into this. All right, I want to jump right into this and say that the national championship, or the college football national championship, has been decided. Okay, the championship natty has been decided. The matchup was between Miami University. Okay, so you have Miami University, who went up against the Indiana Hoosiers for the football or college football national championships that took place on Monday. Okay, it took place on Monday at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, where the Hoosiers faced off against the Hurricanes. And sadly, all right, because you all know that the team that I supported, or the team that I was, rooting for to get the national championship, was Miami. But unfortunately, that was not the case. The Indiana Hoosiers came up on top to defeat the Miami Hurricanes with 27, and Miami finishing off with 21. Noel, merci parce que vous venez partager ou venez monter sur mission. M'apprécie ça. Thank you for tuning in. You're awesome, man. Appreciate it. But again, the Indiana Hoosiers came out on top, winning the national championship, or what I would like to call the natty. All right. It's not even me just calling this myself. It's it's what everybody's calling it now. The natty. The Indiana Hoosiers came out on top, defeating again the Miami Hurricanes, again with 27 and 21. This team right here, okay, this team finished off the season with a perfect record of 16 and 0. Allow me to reiterate this for you one more time, because I don't think a lot of you are understanding what I'm saying here, right? So I'm gonna repeat myself for you once more. The Indiana Hoosiers finished off the season with a perfect record of 16 and 0. 16 wins and no losses. Do you understand this, ladies and gentlemen? 16 and no losses. This team woke up in the beginning of the season. They woke up and chose violence. Quite literally. They chose violence throughout the entire season because they had 0 losses throughout the beginning of the regular season all the way throughout the entirety of the rest of the season up until the national championships, where they completely went all out with no losses. This is by far the craziest thing I've ever seen, ever. And I believe the last team, the last team to have done this, to have a perfect record, because again, this is a perfect record with no losses, okay? The last team to have done this, okay, for college football was, if I'm not mistaken, the Michigan Wolverines. Yes, the Michigan Wolverines back in 2023. Back in 2023, the Michigan Wolverines finished off their season with 15-0, okay? So the Michigan Wolverines back in 2023 had 15 wins and no losses, and if I'm not mistaken, they did win a championship at that as well, okay? They went 15-0 and won a championship. Right, exactly. Huskies. Yeah, they defeated the Huskies during that year, and they went 34-17 with the national championship. So after the Indiana Hoosiers got their undefeated season, before was Michigan Wolverines. So this is crazy, okay? Insane to see a team go without 0 losses, okay? With no losses, straight wins. Yeah, this team did it. This team did it, and you got to give your flowers to these guys. You got to give your flowers to this team, because, yeah, to be able to do that, yeah, you had to go through this entire season with heart, dedication, determination, and especially with the coach that they have too. I'm gonna probably butcher the head coach for Indiana. Hold on. Yeah, Kurt Cignetti, who was a head coach for Indiana. Yeah, I don't even know 16. Oh yeah, to be a head coach to help the team go 16-0, right? 16-0 from the start to finish up until the national championships. That is not something that is what you will call an easy task. It definitely isn't easy, right? And so he came in with the plan. Whatever that plan was, I don't know. But that plan worked clearly for them, considering that they went again 16-0, and then off of that as well. You can't talk about the Indiana Hoosiers going 16-0 and also bringing up the head coach without also talking about Fernando Mendoza, their star quarterback. Okay, Fernando Mendoza, who is their star quarterback, who won this year's Heisman Award and the MVP award for the Indiana Hoosiers, offensive MVP for the Indiana Hoosiers. This guy here is insane, okay? Fernando Mendoza is insane. He's been going all out for the entire season for the Indiana Hoosiers. One moment. This man, I want to pull something up real quick because, yeah, man, this guy is no joke. Him along with and funny enough, okay, because the Indiana Hoosiers and Fernando playing for the team went up against the Miami Hurricanes. This man was raised, okay. Fernando Mendoza was raised in Miami, Florida. So he came back to his hometown to defeat the opposing team, which again was Miami Hurricanes, to bring a championship to the Indiana Hoosiers. All right. So yeah, man, I'm sure it felt good for some of the fans to see Fernando come back. Now, unfortunately, he didn't come to play with the Miami Hurricanes. He came to play against the Miami Hurricanes. All right. I'm trying to pull up this man's stats real fast. Yeah. So this man came in on a mission. So for the regular season, playing with the Indiana Hoosiers, this man had 3,535 yards on his belt, right? 41 touchdowns on his belt, and 6 interceptions. And this man, if I haven't mentioned, this man has officially declared for this year's NFL draft. So you have to give this man his props, and I have to congratulate him. I have to give him his praise because, again, he has went all out, all out for the regular season of his college football career in Indiana University, and now is being declared for this year's NFL draft, which I believe will be taking place, May, maybe June. Should be around that time, May or June, somewhere in there, where the NFL draft will be taking place. I don't know where the NFL draft will be happening. Last year's NFL draft happened, I believe, in Detroit. Yeah, Detroit was where they hosted the NFL draft for last year. I'm not sure where they will be hosting the NFL draft this year, but I will find that out soon and get back to you around during the time the NFL draft happens, okay? But yeah, he has declared for the NFL draft after just defeating the Miami Hurricanes for the national championship and winning the Heisman Award, MVP award at that, all right? So I want to get in a little bit to the game between the Miami Hurricanes and the Indiana Hoosiers. So it seems to be the case where the first 2 quarters, all right, Miami couldn't put up anything. They couldn't do nada, squat, nothing, okay? Whereas the Indiana Hoosiers, they were able to put up some scores on the scoreboard for both the first and second quarter. Not even, throughout the entirety of all 4 quarters. Okay, so for the first quarter, Indiana came in with 3 points, and I believe that came in from if I'm not mistaken, a field goal. Yes. Okay, so the field goal for the first quarter, Indiana was able to put up a field goal kick, right, which had them go up 3-0. 3-0 for the first quarter. And then for the second quarter, again, they had a touchdown. The second quarter came in with they came in with a touchdown for their team, which ultimately ended up with them having 10 points for the first half of the championship. So for the first half, Indiana ended with 10 points, and Miami had 0. Okay, so for the first and second quarter, Miami couldn't come in with a touchdown or a field goal kick. So they couldn't do anything, okay, for the first 2 quarters. And then your third quarter, okay, that's when Miami started doing something here and there to put up some scores for the scoreboard. And they only came in with 7, and that was a touchdown. I think that was Mark Fletcher, okay, who had a 57-yard run to be able to get the touchdown for Miami University, okay? So that was their point for the third quarter, and that was all that they can put up for the third quarter. Then, for the Indiana Hoosiers, they also were able to come in with a touchdown as well, okay? They were able to come in with a touchdown to be able to get 7 on the board, okay? They were able to get 7 on the board for a touchdown for the third quarter. So both Miami and Indiana had 7 for the third quarter. And then finally, for the fourth quarter, that's when Miami tried. They tried their best. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I, too, also thought that this might have been a blowout game for the Indiana Hoosiers, considering that they had a 15-0 record for the regular season, which lets you know how good they're doing, which lets you know that they could be a difficult team to overcome and beat. But Miami did prove me wrong, and I'm sure they proved a lot of other people wrong as well, because a whole lot of people before the match were assuming that this was going to be a blowout game, which clearly it wasn't, because, again, Miami finished off with 21. Okay, so that's what? That's 6 points behind from the Indiana Hoosiers. Okay, that's 6 points. So this wasn't a blowout game. This was a contested match between the two teams. So again, you have to give Miami the respects for being able to hold their own against a team that went 15-0, and now finished the season with, again, 16-0 for the season, all right? So they were able to hold their own out there. But for the fourth quarter, the Indiana Hoosiers, bro, Fernando, he came in clutch, okay? He came in clutch to be able to. Now, this play he made wasn't what sealed the game for the Indiana Hoosiers, but it was a game that was able to get the team a little bit more points to be able to be safe to finish off the quarter with a win for the Indiana. So, again, Fernando Mendoza came in with a 12-yard run to get a touchdown for Indiana, which ended up having them get 24, while Miami had 14, right? And then, 24. Yeah, while Miami had 14, because the 14 to advance from 14 to 21, Miami had a player, which was Malachi Tony, who got a 22-yard pass from Carson Beck to be able to get a touchdown for Miami, which resulted in them ending with 21 points. And that's all that they could finish out with for the game, which, again, for the fourth quarter, that was 14 for Miami and then 10 for Indiana, because they also had a field goal kick as well in the fourth quarter from Nico Radikici, or Radisic, sorry. I'm butchering the last name so hard, okay? But Nico was able to get a field goal kick for the Indiana, which, again, secured the 27 points and helped the the Indiana Hoosiers defeat the Miami Hurricanes for the national championship, which ultimately resulted in them having a 16-0 run and winning this year's national championship for the Indiana Hoosiers. So, again, congratulations, all right? Congratulations to the Indiana Hoosiers. There's always the next year. Again, it sucks. It sucks that the Miami Hurricanes did not get this national championship win. I was rooting for the team, but it is what it is. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Carson Beck, who is the quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes, is also going to be declared for the NFL draft as well. I may be wrong here, okay? I may be wrong here, but yeah, I may be wrong here. Don't quote me on this, but I think he might be declared for the NFL draft this year as well. But yeah, man. Congrats again to the Indiana Hoosiers in their championship run. This is putting a lot of emphasis on the skills that Fernando Mendoza has contributed to the team, to now being able to be declared for the NFL draft for this upcoming draft, which is this year. If I'm not mistaken, one of the teams that he may be going to, because I believe he is going to be a first-round pick, okay? Fernando Mendoza is going to be a first-round pick for the NFL draft, and he's expected to be going to, I believe it's the Las Vegas Raiders, sorry. The Las Vegas Raiders, if I'm not mistaken. One moment. Should be so the team that he's expected to be drafted by is the Las Vegas Raiders. That's the team that he's expected to go to. Granted, things could change, right, here and there. It might be a different team. I don't know. But it does seem to be the case that he may be expected to be drafted into the Las Vegas Raiders to play as their quarterback. So, yeah, man, well-deserved, well-earned. And then as far as his brother goes, because Fernando Mendoza also played alongside his brother, Alberto Mendoza, who's also played with the Indiana Hoosiers. He will be transferring, Okay, so it seems to be that Alberto Mendoza will be transferring from Indiana University. So just winning a national championship with his brother, he will now be transferring to Georgia Tech. Okay, Alberto Mendoza will be going to Georgia Tech to play to play with that school, and yeah, he was a backup quarterback for the Indiana Hoosiers, and now he will be transferring to Georgia Tech. Did they play in the playoffs for college football? No, that was the Bulldogs. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. I wish Alberto Mendoza the best of luck. He himself is, I believe, a very talented player as well, alongside his brother. Very versatile as well when it comes to being a quarterback. So far, he has 286 yards on his belt, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. All right. Again, 286 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception so far for the 2025 season. His 2025 season with the Indiana Hoosiers. All right. So hopefully he can contribute, or he can put in his skills for Georgia Tech, and who knows, possibly take them to the national championship for next season. Who knows? I don't want to say anything in terms of him going to do this, right? I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound, that sounds risky for me to say, considering the stats that I just read off for you for Alberto Mendoza. So we'll just have to wait and see what he's able to contribute to Georgia Tech when he finally plays for the school for next season. All right. Now, as far as football goes, we will be turning it over to the NFL playoffs. It's all come down to this, all right? With your final 4 teams that are left to compete for the NFL playoffs before heading into the NFL Super Bowl. All right, pull this up real fast for you. So your final 2 teams for the NFL Super Bowl is your New England Patriots, who will be facing off against the Denver Broncos. Okay? Excuse me, sorry. Your New England Patriots will be facing off against the Denver Broncos, and then your Los Angeles, your LA Rams will be going up against the Seattle Seahawks. My, oh my. Okay, so for the New England Patriots, okay, this team here, they have a very talented player in their quarterback that goes by the name Drake May, who is very, very much so a very talented quarterback. Them going up against the Broncos, this for me seems to be a very close matchup. It looks like it's going to be a very close matchup. Also considering that for the Denver Broncos, their star quarterback, or their starting quarterback, which is Bo Nix, will be out for the remainder of the playoff series, remainder of the season, period, due to a right ankle injury. I believe Bo Nix has broken his bone on his right ankle, and I believe this was during his game, or during their game with the Buffalo Bills, which was also a close game and heartbreaking for the Bills also. I think I brought that up on our last meeting, where the Buffalo Bills have been eliminated from the playoffs by the Denver Broncos. That game went to OT, right, which again ultimately resulted in the Broncos defeating the Buffalo Bills to advance into the playoffs. But Bo Nix has succumbed to his injuries during their last match with the Buffalo Bills, which again has unfortunately resulted in him being exited out from the rest of the season of the NFL. And so now they're going to have to replace Bo Nix with another player. I believe it's going to be Jarrett Stidham, who will be taking over as the backup quarterback in Bo Nix's absence for his injury. So, with that being said, this could pose to be, yeah. This could pose to be a very big issue or a very big problem for the Denver Broncos, right? This could be a very big problem here. Very big problem here. So, this there couldn't have been a worse timing for the Broncos here, losing Bo Nix. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Okay, we'll have to wait and see what happens in terms of what they're gonna do in terms of their QB protection and the skills that or the, how could I say this, the contribution that Jarrett Stidham is going to be contributing to the Broncos to help them advance into the Super Bowl, because this is it. Okay, this is it. It's the final 4 teams. This is the go big or go home match. All right, winner takes it all. Winner gets to advance to make it to the Super Bowl. So they're putting all their chips on this. The Broncos here, they're putting their cards on Jarrett Stidham here to be able to help them, defeat the New England Patriots to get the chance to go to the Super Bowl, all right? So, again, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But you have, again, the New England Patriots, who will be taking off against the Denver Broncos. And then, again, you have the Seattle Seahawks, who will be facing off against the Rams. And the Rams have proven to be a very, very, not the Rams. Well, yeah, the Rams too, yes. But, the Rams, yes. But the Seattle Seahawks, yeah, these guys are going off. These guys are going crazy this season. Hold on. Crazy. These guys, holy. 15-3. Los Angeles Rams, 14-5. Yeah, these guys, they had a crazy offensive sequence throughout the entirety of the regular season of the NFL. And so a lot of people are seeing this being a game sealed by the Seattle Seahawks. Okay? Again, a go big or go home game. The team that loses is going back home, right? And so this is it. A lot of people have their eyes set on the Seattle Seahawks making an appearance for this year's Super Bowl, right? But I want to hear your predictions, okay? Because I did talk about predictions before in terms of who I think will be able to make it into the Super Bowl, and my predictions were way off, right? A little bit way off, because again, I said that this could have been a repeat for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? This could have been a repeat for the Eagles, but they were eliminated by the San Francisco 49ers, all right? So that prediction is out the window. That's gone. Who else? The Bears. The Bears are the teams that I expected to surprise me, because that is exactly what the Chicago Bears has done for the regular season of the NFL. But unfortunately, they could not overcome the Los Angeles Rams, seeing that they are now going to face the Seattle Seahawks. They could not overcome the Los Angeles Rams in the playoffs. They did put up a good fight, though. They put up a very good fight, a very good challenge. But again, it wasn't enough to help them secure the win to advance. And so, yeah, they surprised me for sure. But I was off with that prediction as well. And so we're left again with the Patriots and the Broncos, and then the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. So, what are your predictions for this? Okay? What are your predictions? My predictions, I'm going to put in my predictions now because, again, we're down to the final 4 teams. I think, okay, because, again, the Seattle Seahawks has had a breakout, in my opinion, a breakout season for the regular season of the NFL in terms of their defense, their defensive coordination, and their offense, right? I see the Seattle Seahawks advancing into the Super Bowl, and then for the Broncos and the Patriots, I see the Patriots going all out, because I can't take my attention off of Drake May, right? In terms of how much of a pinpoint accuracy kind of like quarterback he is, and I believe his second season in the NFL. This is, in fact, his second season in the NFL. Him doing what he's doing right now, this man is very, very, very talented, and a young guy too. A young guy too at that. And so I can't ignore the fact that this guy is very good at being able to play under pressure, right? Being able to play under pressure, and him being able to make the right throws, the right plays to his running backs, wide receivers, to be able to get a touchdown or to be able to get a field goal kick. But I see for the most part that, this goes for, all teams in the NFL, but he's able to get enough touchdowns to be able to get his team to make field goal kicks or touchdowns, right? And he's very good at doing that. At least taking the ball for himself to get first downs. So, I just can't take my attention off of that detail when it comes to Drake May. So, for Broncos and the Patriots, it's a close game, okay? A very close game, but I do see the Patriots eliminating the Broncos and advancing into the Super Bowl. And then for the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks, again, I see the Seattle Seahawks making quick work of the Rams, and then they too advancing into the Super Bowl, where it comes down to the Patriots and the Rams. I'm not saying this is going to happen, all right? This is my predictions, all right? These are strictly predictions. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. The games will be taking place tomorrow on Sunday for both teams, okay? Well, not both teams, for all four teams, okay? The games will be happening again tomorrow on Sunday for the Patriots and the Broncos and the Rams and the Seahawks. And the Patriots and Broncos games will be happening at 3 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. And then for the Rams and the Seahawks, their game will be at 6:30 p.m., okay? So we'll have to wait and see what it looks like, what it's going to look like tomorrow. But, okay, please feel free. Don't just let it be me, because my predictions can be way off, all right? But feel free to let me know what your predictions are. Who do you think will make it to the Super Bowl? Not only that, who do you think will win this year's Super Bowl? I have a team in mind, okay? I'm not going to say the team, all right? I'm not going to give my predictions as to who I think will win this year's Super Bowl, but I have a team in mind. But, you feel free to let me know, what do you think, or who do you think out of all four teams will win this year's Super Bowl? I believe this year's Super Bowl will be happening in San Francisco, okay? Last year's Super Bowl was in New Orleans. This year's Super Bowl will be in San Francisco. So please feel free to let me know who you think will advance into the Super Bowl, and who do you ultimately think will win this year's Super Bowl, okay? But that is that for the NFL. The Broncos are they're gonna take a gamble here. They're gonna take a very big gamble here with their backup quarterback, considering that Bo Nix has been ruled out for the remainder of the season due to his injury. That has to suck. That has to suck, because this is the time, the moment where you can help your team advance into the Super Bowl and win potentially the Super Bowl for a championship. But now you have to go through an injury like this. Yeah, that has to suck. So I feel bad for Bo Nix here, but the Broncos are going to take a very huge gamble here, all right, with their backup quarterback going up against the New England Patriots. But yeah, man, good luck to them. May the best team win for for the playoff series for the NFL. Now I want to get into the NBA. I'm going to get into the NBA here and get into the All-Star votings. So the All-Star votings has been undecided for both the East and the West. Okay, so for both the East and the West, the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, the All-Star starters have been decided and have been named. So we have for the Eastern Conference, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks, who is going to be a starter, alongside Cade Cunningham for the Detroit Pistons. You have Jalen Brunson for the New York Knicks, Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics, and then finally Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers. These are your starters for the Eastern Conference for the NBA All-Stars that is going to be happening February. Sometime early February for the NBA All-Stars. Those are your Eastern Conference starters. And then for your Western Conference starters, we have Luka Doncic of the Los Angeles Lakers. We have Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunders. Stephen Curry, yours truly, for the Golden State Warriors. And then finally we have Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs. These are your players who are your starters for the Western Conference for NBA All-Stars. Now, if you've all noticed, LeBron's name has not been cited for the Western Conference starters. All right? LeBron, this is going to be the first in LeBron's career, I believe. Well, maybe not his career, but this is going to be the first time in a long time where LeBron has not been named the starter for the NBA All-Stars. The very first, all right? Yeah, man, a lot of the fans were not voting to have LeBron become an all-star starter for the Western Conference. Why do you think that is? Honestly, for me, ever since LeBron, because you have to remember, since the start of the regular season, LeBron has been out for a month since the start of the regular season, and so after that, him coming in, I don't know. It just seemed to be a little bit, at least from what I've been seeing, it seemed to be a little bit weird in terms of LeBron's performance, his averaging performance as to what it would usually look like hasn't been the same. I don't know if you guys are getting what I'm saying here, but things haven't seemed to be looking the same for LeBron James ever since coming back into the regular season of the NBA, playing with the Lakers, and so I don't think a lot of people felt the need or saw the need to include LeBron James as a starter for the regular season of the NBA or the All-Stars, NBA All-Stars. And so, again, it's a very first for LeBron James. This is the first in his career, actually. Yeah, the first time in his career where LeBron has not been named as a starter or selected as a starter for the NBA All-Stars. So, let me know your opinions on that. Why do you guys think that that's the case? Why hasn't LeBron been named a starter for the West? Because it's weird. It's different, right? The first time in his career that he hasn't been named as a starter. There could be multiple reasons for why that's the case. But as far as that goes, and I believe the NBA All-Stars is going to be taking place in LA. Yeah, LA will be where the NBA All-Stars will be taking place. In the Los Angeles Clippers' newest facility, right? Because they recently opened up a facility for the Los Angeles Clippers, which is the Intuit Dome Arena. And that arena looks fire. I can't hold you. I cannot hold you. That arena looks very good. A very spacious, a very big arena for the Los Angeles Clippers, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe they've been sharing arenas. The LA Lakers and the LA Clippers. I believe they've been sharing arenas, but now the Clippers finally have their own arena, while the Lakers have theirs. Okay, so again, the NBA All Stars will be hosted in the Intuit Dome of the Los Angeles Clippers arena. All right, so as far as the rest of the events go, I don't know what the other events are going to look like. And when I say other events, I'm talking about the three-point shooting contest, the dunk contest, the celebrity matchups, because they've been doing that as well. You have your celebrity or your influencer matchup. I don't know what all of those are going to look like. I don't think they've named anything yet for those. For those events. In terms of like the rookies, recent NBA rookies matchup, well, I don't know what that's gonna look like as well. For now, it's only what we only know about is the starters for the NBA All-Star games, the Eastern Conference starters and the Western Conference starters. That's all that we have for now. I'm sure they will come in with more information for what all the events are going to look like, and so we'll just have to wait until then to see what or who is going to be competing, who's going to be in the events, so on and so forth. All right, so that is that for in the NBA. I also wanted to get into trades. So there still aren't any trades happening. As of yet, again, the trade deadlines for the NBA will be taking place on, if I'm not mistaken, the 5th of February. Hold on. Yes, I was correct. So the 5th will be when the NBA trade deadlines will be taking place. So, again, we already know that the Atlanta Hawks, excuse me, we already know that the Atlanta Hawks traded Trae Young to go play with the Washington Wizards, while the Wizards traded Corey Kispert and C.J. McCollum to the Atlanta Hawks for Trae Young, okay? So that was the only trade that has happened before the trade deadline. And then also, again, there are talks of Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies, who is also expected to be traded as well. And that trade may be happening on the trade deadline or maybe even before. It seems to be going to happen in the trade deadline, I think. For the most part, it's probably going to happen during that time. But Ja Morant is also looking to be traded as well from the Memphis Grizzlies. And there's already multiple teams in talks of receiving him or potential teams that he could go to. And again, I think I brought this up again our last meeting as well. Some of the teams are the Milwaukee Bucks, the Miami Heat, the Sacramento Kings, and there was one other team as well. I can't remember what other team it was. But for the most part, again, the Bucks, the Heat, and the Kings are one of the few teams that could be potential landing spots for Ja Morant. Honestly, I think I told you guys before, I want this man to come to the Miami Heat, right? Excuse me. I want him to come to the Miami Heat to, help them boys, go all the way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm willing to see that Ja Morant comes to the Miami Heat, but anything could happen. They're gonna have to think about who they're gonna trade, because a lot of these teams are gonna make some big trades to receive Ja Morant. Maybe not so big. Maybe like a few first-round future picks and a few key players in their team. But there's gonna be some pretty big trade outs to receive Ja Morant. All right, so that is going to be the trade for John Morant. I think also as well, if I'm not mistaken, what's his name? Kuminga, yes. Kuminga of the Warriors. So, listen, I got to be honest with you. I have to be very, very honest with you. I think Kuminga deserves better. Jonathan Kuminga of the Golden State Warriors. You already know, for those of you who know me, the Warriors is my team. I'm a Warriors fan. And I very much think Jonathan Kuminga is a very talented player. But I think he deserves better. Jonathan Kuminga deserves way, way better. The treatment that I think he's getting from the Warriors is uncalled for, in my opinion. I think he should be out on the floor as much as possible, considering how much of an athletic player he is, how versatile he is on the floor. Jonathan Kuminga is a very, very talented player, and I think that he has had enough of the treatment that he's getting, because I don't think they're giving him enough play time on the court, which I think he deserves, because he's shown himself to be worthy enough to be able to handle the ball very well. But it looks to be the case where Jonathan Kuminga may be traded come the trade deadline for the NBA. And I do not blame him, okay? I do not blame Jonathan Kuminga, because I think he deserves way better than the treatment that he's getting right now in the Warriors, okay? So as far as what teams he will be going to, I'm not sure. But whatever team that he does go to, I do wish him the best. I hope that he gets the amount of playing time that he deserves to be able to showcase his skills to the max. Okay, to the max, because I think he's being limited in the Warriors. And as of now, we as the Warriors, I got to be honest. It's embarrassing to say, but we are suffering right now. Curry needs help. Curry needs help. Help me. I feel like that's what Curry is screaming right now. Help me, okay? Because the Warriors are doing not so good. And I think Jimmy Butler is now facing an injury, an ACL injury, which will now take him out of the roster for the rest of the season. ACL injuries are no joke. And that is what Jimmy Butler has now faced. He's now facing an ACL injury, which again is warranting him from being out of the rest of the season for the NBA. And so now there goes our hope with Jimmy, right? There goes our hope. He's out now, and Jonathan Kuminga is about to make his way out of the roster. And so, yeah, the Warriors need a lot of help, as much help as they can get, because we are not doing so good. And Curry definitely needs all the help that he can get. But yeah, they're minus Jimmy. Kuminga is about to get ready to dip. I'm also hearing, please do not quote me on this, but I'm also hearing that there could be a rumor that there's a potential for the Warriors receiving Lauri Markkanen of the Utah Jazz. I hope, okay, I hope with the capital H that is the case, because that could be a big help for the Warriors. Now, in terms of if that were the case, I'm thinking of who the Warriors could be trading in order to receive Lauri Markkanen. I'm thinking probably Buddy Yield, Kuminga for sure. Who else? There has to be another player. If not another player, like a future first round pick for the NBA. It has to be one of those things, right? But there's going to be a very big trade out to receive Lauri Markkanen, because Lauri Markkanen is he's a star player, a talented player at that, and he could prove to be a very big help for the Golden State Warriors. And so there could be a very big trade out here. But again, do not quote me on this, but this is just a possibility. It could be a possibility for that happening. But that could be a very, very, very huge help for the Warriors, all right? But, yeah, man, I can't wait to see. I personally cannot wait to see what the trade deadlines are going to look like this coming February, because the last year's trade deadline, if y'all don't remember, with the trade with Luka Doncic being traded from the Mavs to the Lakers, that was one of the craziest trades that has happened in, I think, in a long time. And so I'm expecting another crazy trade to happen this February again for the NBA. So we'll just have to wait and stay tuned for that. All right. I'm going to get in with the Bible verse of the day. One moment. Yeah, I'm going to get in with the Bible verse of the day to finish off the show. Sorry, one moment. One moment. All right. The verse of the day will be coming from Galatians chapter 6, verses 1. Napli verset na Galates chapitre 6, verset 1. Encore verset la sorti na Galates chapitre 6, verset 1. Again, the verse will be coming from Galatians chapter 6, verses 1. I will begin reading. If someone is caught in a sin, you who are spiritual should restore him gently. But watch yourself, or you also may be tempted. Allow me to read that verse for you one more time. And it reads, if someone is caught in a sin, you who are spiritual should restore him gently. But watch yourself, or you also may be tempted. So, I think this verse is self-explanatory. Granted, I always say that after every verse, but yeah, this verse definitely is self-explanatory. So, somebody who's practicing walking righteously or blamelessly, right? Granted, we're all not perfect, okay? We're not perfect, but people who are practicing to live in accordance to God's will, okay? You're practicing to live in obedience and you're living your life righteously. When you are with somebody who isn't living righteously, somebody who is caught again in a sin, somebody who has committed a sin, your part then is to try to correct the individual. This person could be a close friend, a close relative, family member, whoever. But that person that you care about, because when it comes to close friends, right, you want what's best for your friend. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but for me, I know for the most part, when it comes to my friends, people that I care about, I want what's best for them. I don't want to see them go down a path that is self-destructive, but instead I want to correct them and I want to hold them accountable because, again, I want what's best for them. And so for you, in terms of your life and your friends, family, associates, whoever, somebody who's close to you, who you want to see that person do better for themselves, you want to make sure you're doing their part in holding that person accountable and helping them course correct and make the right decisions to not end up in a terrible position in life. Okay? Right? You see somebody committing a sin, you see somebody doing something that they shouldn't be doing, then you, on the other hand, can take that as an opportunity to help correct and direct that person. And now, in doing so, also be careful to not also fall into the same kind of sin. Be careful and be mindful to not fall into that same kind of temptation or that same kind of influence. right? Because you are somebody, as somebody who follows Christ and is walking a life that is righteous or spiritual, right? You want to do your best to not also be influenced into what other people are doing as well. You don't want to be influenced, but you want to be the influence, okay? Don't be influenced, but be the influence. So people should look at you and should aspire to do what you're doing, to walk righteously as you walk righteously, to walk blamelessly as you aim to walk blamelessly, to walk in accordance to God's will as you do so, okay? So always be mindful of this. Anybody that you care about, a close friend, because if you truly are somebody's friend, you don't want to encourage bad behavior. You don't want to encourage sin, but you want to encourage them to do what is right, okay? Pour tout moun kap gade, m'vle pou kompon sa. Moun kote ou yele zanmi ou, okay? Moun sa ou kon yele zanmi ou bezwen fè sike ou pa tombe nan sa zanmi ka yo kon fè ki mal. OK? Ou pa vle tombe nan n'importe sa zanmi ka fè ki se yon péché parce que ou même tant que yon servite bon Dieu, ou se yon moun k'ap marche nan obéissance. Et puis si ou gen yon zanmi ka fè yon bagay ki pa bon, yon bagay ki mal, ça ou besoin faire tant que yon zanmi, tant que yon bon zanmi, ou besoin parler avec moun sa pour faire comprendre ça la faire li pas bon. Ou besoin aider moun sa pour faire bonne décision dans la ville pour pas tomber dans problème. C'est ça verset la dit. Pour capable aider moun sa pour faire décision qui bon dans la vie. Parce que ou pas besoin encourager moun sa pour faire ça qui pas bon pour la ville. Non. Yon moun tant que yon serviteur bon Dieu, ou vle pour moun well tant que yon moun qui c'est yon exemple pour lui. Yon moun k'ap marcher dans obéissance, yon moun k'ap marcher dans k'ap porter un bon vie. C'est quoi ça a besoin? C'est quoi ça a besoin hier comme yon exemple pour zanmi ou, pour famille ou, pour yon frère, pour yon sœur. OK? M'te dit comme ça, ou pas vle tomber dans influence dans ça l'autre moun a fait, mais ou besoin faire moun wow tant que yon exemple pour capable marcher même gens avec pour capable mener yon bon vie. OK? Pas quitter moun influencer mais faire moun garder tant que yon influence. Je ne sais pas si me dit ça bien, OK? But ou comprend ça m'a dit. Fais si que pendant wap encourager moun sa ou bien encourager zami sa pour faire ça qui bien, fais si que ou pas tomber dans même péché. Fais si que ou pas tomber en bas influence l'autre moun, OK? Fais si que ça pas arriver. OK? Mais ou même ou besoin marcher en vie qui droite dans Dieu bon Dieu et puis ou besoin l'autre monde pour garder pour prendre comme un exemple pour pas tomber dans péché encore. OK? Let other people see you as the influence rather than you being influenced. OK? Do not be influenced, but be the influence. All right, so that's the verse again for the day. Again, it's Galatians chapter 6 verses 1. Verset encore li sorti dans Galates chapitre 6 verset 1. Okay? Read it, meditate on it, pray on it, and apply it into your life, and God will bless you. All right? I love you guys. As per usual. I love you guys. Again, remember, I'm not doing my shows on Tuesdays for the time being. It's only going to be temporary because, again, I have school. My hours with school is going to be intertwined with my hours being here. So I have to put my school first. I have to put class first. And unfortunately, my shows will not be conducted on Tuesdays for now, okay? For now, they will not be conducted on Tuesdays. They may be for a later period, but that's going to be the case for the time being. And then as far as my Saturday shows go, like today, I'm just starting this today. They will now be an hour long, from 10 o'clock to 11, all right? I love you guys. And I will see you all right back here again next Saturday, all right? I love you guys, and I'll see you then. Adios.